Here we go.
The year is 2002. I'm 1 year old. I'm sitting on my mother's lap while she's playing Donkey Kong 64 and I fall in love immediately. The playful music, the silly characters, the awesome levels to explore. This whole new world was introduced to my tiny little toddler brain and I was blown away. For years I would ask my mom to play Donkey Kong 64 just so I can sit and watch until finally I got the confidence to play it myself. Donkey Kong 64 is my favorite video game of all time and I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not. Most reviews and ratings I find online are pretty good, but I never hear anyone actually talking about the game. Most people that I met didn't even know the game existed until I forced it into their lives. I hear a lot about early Zelda games. Everyone loves them, and for most people, their favorite video game of all time will be an early Zelda game. I also hear a lot about 3D Sonic games and how a lot of people don't like them and think they're really bad. But I don't hear anything about Donkey Kong 64, good or bad. I grew up with this game and it has a very special place in my heart. I understand that my love for this game is mostly based on nostalgia, but I don't understand why no one talks about this game. Even when I try and look past my nostalgia, I still don't think it's a bad game. I'll admit, it has its flaws. It doesn't have the most appealing design. Some challenges are near impossible to complete while keeping your sanity, and the camera angle is the scariest enemy in this game. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm purely blinded by nostalgia, but I want to know if that's the case. So without further ado, I would like to build my case on why I think Donkey Kong 64 is a good game. And if after this video you decide it's a bad game, I respect your opinion, but you're wrong and you will not change my mind. I'm about to spoil some aspects about this game, so if you care about any of that, I would go and find a way to play it or watch someone else play it before coming back to this video. There are 5 playable characters you can unlock during this game: Donkey Kong, Chunky Kong, Lanky Kong, Diddy Kong, and Tiny Kong. That's not the order you'll unlock them, but when I was a small child, I decided that's the order their names needed to be said, and if I say it any other way, I feel like I'm committing a sin. Side note, I vividly remember arguing with this girl I went to daycare with about this game. She claimed that Donkey, Chunky, and all of that was their last names, and that Kong was their first names, which doesn't make any sense. We'd call him Kong Donkey if that were the case, not Donkey Kong. Also, why would someone give all 5 of the main characters of their video game the same first name? It makes no sense. I argued with her about it for weeks and I didn't let it go. No, I was not popular in school, thank you for asking. Each character has a unique set of abilities, which means specific objectives need to be completed by specific characters. This means the player can't just pick their favorite character and stick with that character throughout the entire game. They're forced to play as each character equally. I understand why some people wouldn't like this aspect, but personally I like it. I like coming across an area and realizing, oh, I'm gonna need Lanky for this. It's something so small, yet I feel kind of proud for figuring it out. Donkey Kong is the starting character. He's pretty balanced when it comes to speed, agility, strength, all that. He is the only character who can access barrel cannon challenges where the player will have to launch Donkey through a series of cannons to reach the end goal. When I was younger, I hated these challenges because every time you launch Donkey out of the cannon, he screams like this, and I always felt so bad. Diddy Kong is the first Kong you'll be able to unlock. He has weaker attacks but makes up for it with better speed and agility. I don't really have many memories from my childhood attached to Diddy, except for the fact that I was convinced he was dating this other character named Candy Kong. I don't know why, I couldn't find anything that even suggested the fact while doing research for this video. Lanky Kong can be unlocked in the next world. He's a pretty balanced character, but he's a bit quicker than Donkey is. As a child, I always found Lanky's abilities to be the most fun to mess around with. He had long arms that could reach really far, he could run on his hands, though I do remember having nightmares of him inflating himself like a balloon and chasing me. Tiny can be unlocked in the same level as Lanky, and the player can choose who to unlock first. She's the only playable female Kong. She has the weakest attacks but the best speed and agility. She uses her pigtails to attack and glide through the air. When I was a child, I would ask my mom to put my hair in pigtails and I'd run up to people and hit them with my hair just like Tiny does. Again, no, I wasn't popular in school. Chunky Kong is the last Kong to unlock. He's the strongest character, but the slowest, least agile, and has the lowest jump height. In my opinion, Chunky is the character with the most distinct personality. He's shy, nervous, he's not always the brightest, but he sure is one hell of a guy. Being a shy child growing up, I immediately related to Chunky and loved him as a character, though I rarely ever played as him. The reason for that being, whenever you go to select a character, Chunky does this, and being a severely empathetic child, I wouldn't pick him because he didn't want to be picked. As you can see, each character is incredibly unique. They're each given distinct personalities and special abilities that remain unique to their character throughout the entire game, whether it be in the gameplay itself or in menus and cutscenes. And it's not just the playable characters, any NPC you come across is given so much personality. This may seem like such a simple thing to praise a game for, but I feel like NPC personalities are often overlooked when it comes to immersing a player. There are so many games where I come across an NPC and it's so clear that the only thought put into the character is it needs to drive the story along. But when I come across a character like Cranky Kong, it feels like he naturally fits into the world of this game. He reacts to the events in a way that makes sense to his character. He's a part of this world and the events affect him, not just the player. The game has 9 themed worlds for the player to explore: DK Isles, which is the hub, and the other 8 unlockable levels. DK Isles and all the levels are both very open, similar to the levels in Super Mario 64. The player isn't given too much direction, they just need to explore and figure it out as they go. Now, to be clear, in no way am I saying that this game has the same vast open levels as games like Breath of the Wild. There is still a significant amount of direction given in this game. What I mean is this game allows you to wander and figure out on your own that you're not allowed to go into that area yet. There's no big flashing message, there's no character coming up and screaming, "Hey, you need to go this way!" And coming from an idiot who is terrible at following and understanding instructions, I like being pushed in the right direction and given the illusion that I figured it out on my own. Each level is unique and exciting to explore, except for Gloomy Galleon because it's a water level and all water levels suck. Whoever decided that every video game needs to have a water level is the devil themselves. I don't care how many people tell me that the song Dire Dire Docks is a beautiful, calming song. It gives me flashbacks to all the rage I feel when I play that level. The next time I hear that song, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Each level has a unique soundtrack, lighting, color scheme, new enemies, characters, new ways for the player to interact with the level. And I know what you're thinking, Izzy, all games have variety between stages. And yes, I agree, but for some video games, the variety isn't as wide when you really think about it. Usually games will go from a section that's creepy and dark to a section that's creepy and a little less dark. Or it'll go from a level that's bright and colorful to a level that's bright and colorful with a different color scheme. I just find that DK64 does a really good job in creating different atmospheres for each level. Personally, I think that this level and this level have way more drastic shifts in atmosphere than the past 2 examples. One of the consistent things through all the levels are all the items riddled throughout. The player will need to collect multiple items in order to progress. In fact, it's one of the most important aspects of the game. Each Kong can only collect items of their assigned color. If your brain is at all wired like my monkey brain is, when you enter a new level and see all of the items you can collect, your brain is immediately given a serotonin boost. But it's not one of those situations where you're given too many items off the bat that they lose their meaning because you can't collect them all. You need to switch between the Kongs, so there's the initial serotonin boost when you see all the items, and then the second serotonin boost when you finally collect it. The most significant items you need to collect are the keys you win after defeating a boss. Keys are used to free K. Lumsy, who is locked away for refusing to help K. Rool destroy DK Isles, and he will be a very crucial part in helping you defeat K. Rool. I find the collection aspect in this game a lot more satisfying than games like Super Mario 64 because the items tie into the story in a way that makes logical sense. I have nothing against Super Mario 64, by the way. I know I've used it as a comparison a lot throughout this video, but it is another game that I grew up with and it holds a very special place in my heart. I'm just saying it makes more sense to collect keys to unlock a cage than to collect stars to unlock a door. And personally, I enjoy having a lot of items to collect because frankly, I have a short attention span and if I get bored of one task, I can just go to the next and circle back when I have the energy to try again. Easily the most charming part about this game is all the character and personality it brings, which is heavily portrayed through the cutscenes. Now sometimes cutscenes can be really annoying. They can make you feel disconnected from the game for a moment and you're just forced to sit and watch events that you'd rather do yourself. They can feel time consuming and repetitive when all you want to do is go, go, go. But in a game like this where it prioritizes making you feel like this universe on your screen is real, Cutscenes are crucial. In Super Mario 64, this is the cutscene that plays before you fight Bowser for the first time. Which is great, it's short and sweet and throws the player right into the action. But in Donkey Kong 64, when a cutscene like this takes place, you better believe that when I was a child, I had to go change my pants after seeing that, because that is the scariest thing my young eyes have ever seen. And now you're telling me that after showing me how terrifying this guy is, you're gonna make me fight him? I have to go change my pants again. There's a cutscene that takes place before one of the bosses of this game that shows that K. Rool's minions forgot to find someone to guard this boss key, so they quickly make a cardboard cutout for you to fight. Now, although the fight itself is the most rage-inducing, sanity-crushing boss in this entire game, it's also one of the most creative ones. It's an interesting concept, and more importantly, it sticks to the narrative of the game. In my opinion, the cutscene that perfectly sums up all the personality in this game is the one that takes place right after defeating the final boss. You just defeated K. Rool as Chunky, and you're busy accepting the applause from the audience. K. Rool's minions are trying to wake him up, and when they finally do, he charges for Chunky. But then he stops in his tracks when he hears whistling and he sees Candy Kong posing seductively. He runs to the edge of the arena to try and reach Candy Kong, and while his back is turned, Funky Kong will shoot him, launching him out of the arena and into K. Lumsey's prison, where we're left to assume that K. Lumsey beats him up. Then as the credits roll, we get to see the Kongs happily living on DK Isles after defeating K. Rool. Oh, maybe that's why I thought they were together. Because they're within the same general vicinity, so obviously that means they're dating. I mean, look at that giggle. You can't see that and tell me she's not in love. In conclusion, Donkey Kong 64 is a great game. Although I may have some questionable aspects, it also has some pretty cool ones. My dream would be to have a Mario Odyssey equivalent of a Donkey Kong game, but I know that'll never happen. Nintendo isn't gonna make an entire game just because one nostalgic loser wants it. For any of you who have ever revisited a video game you played growing up that you haven't played in years, you know how amazing it feels. I will never be able to describe the happiness it brought me to explore the levels and be reminded of memories I didn't realize I had, or even humming along to level music that I don't remember knowing. Rediscovering something you loved as a child can be one of the best feelings in the world, and if you're looking for something to do during all this chaos, I would suggest doing just that. I really love this game, and I just wanted to talk about it. So thank you for listening to my rant. This is my 5th version of this video. The first version was like 2 hours long, and even that didn't contain everything I wanted to say, so maybe this could become a series. Anyways, wear a mask, keep yourself safe, and go play some video games.